Yeah, look, it has been a pretty bumpy start to the new year with clusters in parts of the country leading to more restrictions. The overarching picture though is still very positive. Saw obviously a big disruption in the second quarter last year, but the third quarter consumption has rebounded 11% outside of Victoria, which still had the second wave shutdown. The labour market's come roaring back as well, and I think that's really shored up confidence across the consumer, particularly around jobs, which is a big issue for consumers. The vaccine promise of an end to the pandemic gave us a big rally in sentiment. We rose to a 10-year high in December from our consumer sentiment survey, and despite that shaky start to the year and the loss of some of that, that festivity season and the Boxing Day sales, the retracement we saw in January was pretty mild. So the overall picture for spending is still holding up pretty well given those disruptions at the start of the year, and given that those disruptions are now rolling out of the picture, apart from Perth, we should still see a fairly good picture around activity. The property market's clearly resurging strongly. We've had 4 strong months of gains nationally. It's broadening across all markets now. We're seeing if you look at the national measure, including regional areas, we're now slightly above pre-COVID levels in terms of prices and slightly above the 2017 peaks. There are sort of front runners and laggards, as you'd expect. The smaller capital cities, which had much briefer disruptions from COVID, are leading the charge. Still some softness is really around units. Those segments have more ample supply, have weaker demand prospects, and prices are really just about stabilising, maybe drifting a little lower still. But all in all, those segments, the core inner city high-rise segments in the Australian market account for only 10% of the market. And what we've got is easily over 80% of the market is seeing a pretty convincing upswing that has carried through into early 2021.